Okay. So first, I'll say a little something about archaeoastronomy. We got a little introduction by Doug. A definition from a university college course. The study of this is a definition of archaeoastronomy, the study of the astronomical practices, celestial lore, mythologies, religions, and worldviews of all ancient cultures. It's what we call archeoastronomy. So in Bhaktivedanta Institute, Sadāpūta Prabhu Dr. Richard Thompson was a pioneer in this. You know, his books about cosmology are, of course, they could be included in this topic of archaeoastronomy. You know, for example, in Mysteries of the Sacred Universe, he draws attention to the fact that many of the world's cultures have this basic cosmological model that includes the central continent, 4 directional rivers, a cosmic mountain surmounted by the abode of the gods, and with a ring ocean, upper and lower worlds, and the world girdling serpent. So this is common in many of the different cultures of the world. I've kind of looked into these things myself. Once I went to Angkor Wat. I'm connected with the Temple of Vedic Planetarium, which is dedicated to presenting Vedic cosmology. So we have our ideas today, but I was interested in what people who follow Vedic culture 1,000 or more years ago chose to display in their planetariums. Because a Vedic temple is traditionally a model of the universe with a moat being the ring ocean, the main tower of the temple being Mount Meru. So it's like a map of the Vedic or Puranic universes. So it's interesting how astronomical information is built into the very structure of these temples. And they're designed in such a way, this temple is designed in such a way that on the equinox day, the sun rises directly over the central temple. And on the winter solstice, the sun rises directly over this end tower on this long ball in front. And on the summer solstice, it rises over the other end. And as I said, in the fall and spring equinoxes, the sun rises directly over the main tower of the temple. So it's very interesting how they were able to design that in such a way that that happens. It means they had some fairly advanced knowledge. One thing I found interesting was they had a whole wall of the central temple dedicated to the churning of the milk ocean. And there's astronomical information built into that as well, which I'll try to explain here. it's impossible to take a single picture of the whole thing, but this is starting from the left. You've got a row of asuras who are pulling on the serpent, Vasuki. And at the very end, there's King Bali Maharaj, the commander of the asuras, pulling. And then there are the other asuras pulling. And in the center, no, not, let's see, maybe I missed the slide there. No, that's correct. Yeah, so that's Bali. Yeah, then in the center, there's Mount Mandara, and then a form of Vishnu on top of that. And then the demigods are pulling in the opposite direction. And among the demigods is Rahu. He's an asura. He snuck over to that side. You can see his little fangs there. And I think this has some astronomical significance, considering that Rahu is involved in the eclipses. Pulling on the tail of the serpent on the demigod side is Sugriva in this rendition of it. And this is, in my judgment, connected with the sequence of the equinoxes and the solstices. Now, if you really look into this and you count all the devas, all the demigods, and the central area, which represents the beginning of the year, the spring equinox, that lasts for 3 days, according to the calendar they were using, whoever built this. So that's the new year. And then on the Deva side, you have 28 Devas, then one large Deva, 28 more Devas, another large Deva, then 29 Devas equals a total of 88 Devas. And that is the period between the new year, the spring equinox, and the summer solstice. Then on the asura side, you've got 29 asuras, one large asura, another 29, another large asura, then 30 more asuras, for a total of 91 asuras. And there are 91 days between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And Lord Indra is also there in the center. So that's one extra day. So that kind of adds up to 91 days plus 3 days plus 88 days equals 182 days. That's a half a year. Multiply by that by 2, and you get the 364 days plus the Indra day, 365 days. Um, whoever made this sculpture had some really detailed knowledge. It's a Vishnu temple, so that's interesting. So on one side, you have the Asuras, who are identified with darkness. That would be going towards the winter solstice. So they're pulling one way. The demigods on the side of light are pulling another way. So I think there's a lot of information about the sun, the movements of the sun, built into that sculpture. So sometimes they call archeoastronomy science of the stars and the stones. Another thing I became interested in is meteor craters, cosmic impact sites. Now, this is the Wolf Creek meteor crater in Western Australia. These researchers determined it was about 300,000 years old that the impact took place. And this is their paper. Now, what's really interesting is that the legends of the local Aboriginal people have some things to say about this. A Jaru tribal elder reported a star bin fell down. It was a small star, not so big. It fell straight down and hit the ground. It fell straight down and made that whole ground very deep. The earth shook when that star fell down. Now, this impact took place 300,000 years ago, and yet these people have in their legends this account. Now, some people will say, well, they just heard about it from some scientist and made up the story. But some researchers have reported that this, I'm going to go over something, skip some things here. Well, this is another account of the explosion in the tribal. Now, this is the interesting point. A scholar who interviewed these people, these tribal people, reports that the Aboriginal elder told him his story came from his grandfather's grandfather, indicating it was handed down in its present form before the scientific discovery of the crater. In other words, it's only fairly recently that scientists and scholars have accepted that these craters were caused by cosmic impact events. Actually, this crater, meteor crater in Arizona, the Barringer meteor crater, was the first one to be generally accepted by scientists as an impact crater. It was first discovered by Western scientific people in the 19th century. And this geologist was very sure that it was volcanic. not the result of a cosmic impact. Scientists had accepted for a long time that stones fell from the sky, but small ones. They never conceived of anything this powerful striking the earth. So there was, however, a mining engineer who thought it was a big iron meteor that struck the earth. So he bought the crater and was going to mine it, but he didn't find anything. Then there was Shoemaker, a geologist for NASA. He determined it was actually a cosmic impact crater. But he said something very interesting. He said it looks exactly like an atomic bomb crater because they were testing atomic weapons in the southwestern United States up to 1950s or 60s. There's more impact craters like that, which could be useful in my topic of forbidden archaeology, and providing another line of evidence that people have existed for a long time. Another aspect of archaeoastronomy is looking at the alignments of temples and old structures, because they were generally set up aligned towards the equinoxes and the solstices. But the people notice that, researchers have noticed that sometimes they're angled differently, which indicates maybe they were related to past positions of the equinox, because there's a precession of the equinoxes and solstices that take place. So archaeoastronomy is based on things on Earth. Exoarcheology is based on things that are found off the Earth, or things from off the Earth that have landed here. This has become very prominent in astrophysics and space science as a result of discoveries that have been made by the Kepler and Webb space telescopes. Basically, they're finding lots of exoplanets. That means planets in other solar systems beyond our own. And they found many that are somewhat similar to the Earth. They found thousands of these exoplanets. And many scientists have begun to investigate the possibility that some of these Earth-like planets are inhabited by intelligent beings. For a long time, there was research into what's called SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. But among archaeologists, I was surprised, a few years ago when I was presenting a paper at a meeting of the World Archaeological Congress, and I saw they had a whole section of the conference dedicated to extraterrestrial archaeology. And that was quite surprising to me, but it's become a growing field in mainstream archaeology to look into these things. As one of the organizers of the session at that conference said, other intelligent species might send robotic probes to explore and monitor various planetary systems as we already do in our solar system. So one thing they're considering is when archaeologists go to the moon or Mars, what are they going to do with stuff that we sent up there? But they're also wondering, what are we going to do if we find things that we didn't send up there? And yeah, we may laugh about it, but you know, extraterrestrial archaeology is part of a larger discipline called exobiology. And NASA has huge programs for the interdisciplinary study of exobiology or astrobiology, as it's sometimes called. And you have very prominent credentialed scientists like Avi Loeb, who was head of the astronomy department at Harvard University. He's got his own institute now, but in 2017, an object from outside our solar system was detected entering our solar system, circling the sun, and then going out. It was discovered in Hawaii, so that there's an observatory on Maui, I think, and they call it the Oumuamua object. But he proposed seriously that it is very likely an alien probe sent from outside our solar system. So the previous view was kind of like a from the side view. It was actually kind of like this. Said it might have been propelled by solar winds, as depicted there. So there have been a few scientists, they're increasing in number, who are willing to consider the possibility that our universe, as Dr. Mack from Harvard University said, it appears ever more likely that we exist in a multi-dimensional cosmos. The cosmos appears to be filled with beings, creatures, spirits, intelligences. And as I've wandered around the world, I've seen some intriguing examples of objects that are said to be from other worlds. This is a Temple of the Moon in Bali. And there they have, in this tower, an object they consider to be from the moon, a big brass, looks like a drum or a gong or something. But the local people say it's from the moon, either the wheel of the moon god's chariot or a nose ring from the moon goddess. And we find objects like that in India as well. If you look at the histories of the Sri Rangam temple, the local histories, they say that the Sri Rangam deity was originally worshipped on Brahmaloka, and that it was given to the sun god who gave it to Ikshvaku. And it's said to be extraterrestrial in origin. So I'm kind of like a restless child who goes out wandering through the world and bringing home, look what I found, a turtle. And then I bring it and then let you decide what to do with it. Thank you.